Alright, I thought I would do some sort of less effort kind of reviews like this, because I know some people do it, and it takes me a while to actually film everything and then get to the editing part, so figured I'd just do a more simple kind of review, kind of like what my friend Nate does. No, not a whole lot of editing, just me sitting on the floor and talking about this. Anyways, today we're going to be looking at one of the best bagless machines to come out of the mid-2000s. In fact, maybe ever. Now its dust cup filter design is not a good design whatsoever, but it's a lot better than its cheaper counterparts from the same company, and its cleaning ability is probably one of the best you'll find from a store brand machine. We are looking at the Eureka Whirlwind Lightspeed or Boss Bagless Wide Track. This specific model is the Boss Special Edition Wide Track. The model of this one is 5855BZ-1. And it was made 2005. Let's get a better look at that serial number. March 2005, it looks like. That or the third week of 2005. I don't know how Eureka model numbers work that much, but I'm just guessing that's what it is. So, I've had this thing for a few months now. Since August, I think. And it's had a few new additions, including a brand new electrostatic duster assembly. Actually more like new old stock, because it's got that old uppercase Eureka logo. It's got a new brush roll in it. It's usually meant for the currently available sanitaire variants, but it works probably better than the original brush roll, as the bristles stick out a good amount. And of course, brand new filters, which actually more of a new old stock filters, as you can tell by looking at some of the pleats, they are rather fragile on that filter. And a brand new dust cup filter. Well, at least it was new at the time when I got this. And there's not a whole lot on this machine to actually complain about. It's very quiet. It cleans very well for a $150 bagless machine that you could find at Best Buy or Walmart. I think this exact model is a Best Buy exclusive, because I couldn't even find a listing for these on old Walmart website looking things. It's missing the holder for the PowerPaw Wide Track and, of course, the PowerPaw Wide Track. I'm currently on the hunt for one of those, but I can only find the PowerPaw Wide Track itself and not the holder for it. If anyone has any broken Eureka the Boss 4Ds that they're taking parts off of, let me know, because I'm trying to make this thing look as new as it can. So I just need the holder for the Wide Track PowerPaw. currently doesn't have much for original attachments or original looking attachments, but that is going to change soon, as the attachments on this are the same color as the attachments for the Sanitaire Forces. So eventually, hopefully, I'll get this thing at least looking like semi-brand new. Of course, there are some scuffs and faded labeling, but other than that, it would look like an almost brand new machine. Now, before I got my bagged quiet clean, this was my daily driver, as it was a good cleaning machine. It wasn't loud, and its capacity was pretty large. I mean, even for a crappy bagless machine that was just made to be made, these had a very good dustbin capacity. I wouldn't say it would be as big as like a regular bag that especially comes like out of that, but the capacity for this dustbin is pretty big. And unlike a cheaper alternative to this, typically under the Maxima name, the filter itself is not completely in the way of the dirt, although it still is. As you can see, it goes through here first and sort of circles down into the bottom of the bin, which is a lot better than the Maxima and the Optima, where the filter was just right there in the path. So, yeah. Now, there are quite a few machines that carry this exact body style, including some of the Power Flight commercials, the Eureka Whirlwind Light Speeds, which I think was the first versions of these to have the style. The Eureka the Boss Bagless Wide Track, which had a couple of designs. And then, of course, the Sanitaire Forces. Now, they did make bagged versions of these, but they weren't as popular. They were also available in commercial versions because they were relatively easy to maintain, and they cleaned pretty good. Of course, they are still available under Power Flight and Sanitaire names, but I personally go for the Power Flight version because you don't know what Bissell is doing with Sanitaire at the moment, especially with the Force models, but doesn't sound like they're cheapening the Power Flight versions. One thing I will say about the commercial versions real fast is that they do not have headlights. Unfortunately, that was taken off of at the latest for the Power Flight versions, the early 2010s. For the Sanitaire versions, around the late 2000s. Without further ado, we'll give this bad boy a run so you can see what it sounds like and runs like now. Yeah, it's a very quiet machine, and that's why I like it. It's not as loud as, well, it's definitely not as loud as a lot of the stuff that was being sold by companies back then, specifically Dirt Devil and Hoover. Eureka did make some other quiet machines like the Ultima, the Contour, and when they had good motors, the Victories, but this is like almost like 100%, these would be nice and quiet for you. Now, at the time that this was made, would this have been a good option for you? I'd say definitely, especially because vacuum bags were not as good in the mid-2000s as they are now, with synthetic options available. It would have definitely been the way to go with this. It is one of the best, if not the best, bagless vacuums to have been made ever, coming in relatively tied with the bagless Dirt Devil Breeze and Featherlight models. It was also a lot quieter than those, and of course it had more attachments and a lot of different versions that fitted your needs. And because I want to, why don't I give a nice demonstration of the electrostatic duster. Nice and charged. We're going to use it on this desk right here. And of course, a little bit up here. Usually, you wouldn't leave it running while you do this, but I do it just so I can quickly dock the duster and instantly clean it. And also because it's not a loud machine and it doesn't have any obnoxious whining to it, it wouldn't bother you if you left it running. And because Sanitaire still makes these under the Force Quiet Clean names, you can still buy parts for these. Granted that it isn't any of the color accented parts, and maybe it is not the one with the handle power switch like this. And you can actually still buy motors for these too. Amtech, which is the company that makes the motors for these, still sell the 3 lead models that can power the headlights. So if your motor ever goes out, 50 to 60 bucks and you'll have a new one ready to go. My rating, I would give this machine a solid 8 out of 10. I also forgot to mention that the suction and airflow on this model is pretty good for something that is bought at a big box store. These are pretty much the mid-2000s powerhouses, and it is a shame that Eureka stopped making these. I am Jack's Facts and Safety, here with a review of the Eureka the Boss SE Bagless Wide Track, and signing out. See you guys in the next one.